Good evening and welcome. A special welcome to Notts County's head coach, Martin Paterson, on the eve of the new season. We firstly must, on behalf of all the flock, express our thanks for Martin to take the time out from his schedule and for the club to make this happen for the podcast. Doesn't happen too often at many other clubs. Martin, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Okay, let's dive straight in. Aims, ambitions that you have as head coach of Notts County. What's the plan?
Well, I think it's quite well documented in terms of the club's plan, and I'm aligned with it. Dare I say the word promotion is the one that we're all talking about and everybody's set as the target. But to delve a little bit deeper into what that means and what that means for me or what my target is quite simpler really. Look at the squad, I look at the players that I have, and I try and make them better. That's what pre-season has been geared towards in terms of making marginal gains every day to improve the group I have. Now, the group I have may change in the next 2 or 3 weeks, which is fine, but the goal of the football club remains the same. The owners are hell bent on promotion. My job is to deliver that, but the steps and the processes are harder than what people imagine. So I can't talk about the end goal. I have to focus on the basics of making sure the team's organised, making sure the team has different ways of hurting people, and ultimately, before I start talking about all these great things, the team work hard. And I can assure you, pre-season has been one that mirrors those words for sure.
We spoke with Matty Platt out in Germany, and one word that he used to describe pre-season and your approach, he said intense. Think it's fair to say you bring a certain level of intensity in everything that you do.
Yes, I do, but there is a different side to me that I've shown the players as well. But the important thing for me is what the group look like, not what I am. Because yes, I am intense when we work, and it is again it's work. Players come to work. There's a schedule. I expect certain things inside the training sessions, the gym, the video analysis room. It's intense, but it's the best job in the world. So I hope they don't view it as a job like other people. I hope they understand how lucky they are. And all I expect, and one of my first speeches to them was about maximising your day, making sure that we do everything as a footballer to be better. Because, people that have played, Mark, you've played, I've played, one of the worst things you can hold on to is that little bit of regret. Should have done this, should have done that. So my job is to explain to the players when they come in to Meadow Lane, the training ground, they maximise the day. And I hold that responsibility. I hold it in a really high regard because these players don't know how lucky they are yet because they're in the bubble of being a professional footballer. I'm not in that bubble. I'm in the results business. So, yes, I am intense, but the players, I've seen another side to me when the work is done. I like to enjoy a chat with them. I like to be myself. I like a laugh and a giggle, a cup of coffee, and walk around, make sure you're okay. I ask them questions about the family, talk about my family. I was talking to the players today, and like today, the session was really intense. But I talked about how I had a family Formula One race on PlayStation and 9-year-old to beat. So I was talking about my frustrations in the warm up about that. So there is a side to me that is a bit softer, able to laugh and joke. But I think the players know when the whistle goes and it's time to go. We see it as the best job in the world, and they should give everything towards it.
No.
No?
Martin, I think with your first month here, how have you found it? How have you settled in? Obviously, you came in, about the 22nd, wasn't it? Before the players came in for pre-season, so you didn't have too long before getting your pre-season planned and all that sort of thing. How have you found this first month? You talk about improving the players. You'd have had a preconceived idea, maybe you'd known a bit about some of the players more than others. How has that first month been in terms of your expectations of what you were looking to find from the group, and where have they gone within them 4 weeks that you've had with them?
Yeah, obviously when you interview, you study the team, you watch 1,000-minute footage, and you do have an idea. But the best thing is to assess them as they go. So as much as I had an idea of what certain people were like, how the team looked, I didn't really make any absolute decisions. I kind of waited for the first 2-3 weeks. Best thing about this pre-season trip in Germany, where we played some really tough teams, it's really clear to me what the group can do, and at the moment what the group can't do. And it's been invaluable time together spent. It's been good for me to see the games and see what type of characters like certain moments in the game, what characters don't. So I'm really clear on how we need to play. I'm really clear on who will be on the journey. And if I'm going to be honest, and I think it's really important to be honest, there's a few that are still pending in terms of, okay, not quite made my mind up fully. And there's a couple of weeks to go, or 10 days ago we kick off. And they've always got a chance within training, inside the games, to put their case over to pull on the shirt of Notts County and have the honour of starting the first few games and being part of the journey.
But what you would say is already in the 4 weeks, what you've seen from them, that's, as you said, solidified your ideas of sort of the shape, the preferred shape you want to go with, the shape that probably you think suits these players better. I think that's the question a lot of fans will have, won't they? Is he a back three man? Is he a back four man? Does he play inverted wing backs? Was a big topic here last season, But I think you'll probably say, and you have a look at the players and then find what the best system to fit them all in is. Is that right?
Yeah, I think from my journey as a coach and as a head coach, I think one of the mistakes you can make is coming in with, right, it's going to be this. And I don't think you can do it. You have to look at players, and it's not about you or me. It's about what they're best in. And a lot of people will fixate on shapes. We'll play 4-3-3, play 4-2-3-1, 3-5-2. Can you play 3-box? It's basically, when you look at the players, you figure the best shape in possession and then the best shape out of possession to either A, be really organised, or win the ball back quickly. And a lot of people try and get shapes out of me and go, right, what are you looking to play? And at the moment, I'm really clear. I know what I'm going to be out of possession. I've already tried 3 or 4 shapes inside the pre-season games. If anyone's watched, there's been 3 or 4 different shapes that I've tried to press from. And again, I was just testing the group, testing myself in terms of what can they do well and what don't they do so well. Then all of a sudden I sit down with the staff and I go, right, what's it going to look like? And that's ever changing inside games, because if we're chasing a goal, of course you're going to be more aggressive. You're going to maybe put a player higher. In terms of the in possession, I've been pretty clear from day one, but I also want to be flexible enough to not just be consistent every week. Right, this is what it's going to be, because you do need different things to hurt different opposition, and I think we're on our way to doing that as well.
Martin, historically the club have been categorised as a possession-based team. I think in the 6 seasons since the brothers took over this club, the club has topped possession charts in each division, but that has seen top 6 finishers. It's actually only seen 1 promotion in 6 seasons so far. Where are you in terms of that needle, in terms of winning matches, results, possession-based football?
Yeah, I think, again, this is a question I've been in a lot, and it's when I interviewed for the job, I used the term possession with a purpose. I used a balance of having the ball but being effective with it. And a big thing for me is where you have possession of the ball as well, and where you make those passes, because we have our centre backs passing the ball on the halfway line to and fro each. Okay, in moments that's fine to try and set up something if a team's being really negative or sitting in. But in moments you then need to change the tempo. You need to play the ball forward. You need to have a different look, change the feel of the game. And everyone's watched us in pre-season. One of the big things and the small marginal gains that I've made is just being a little bit different in terms of the way that we build the ball. And I think it's been important to add to the group. And we're not taking anything away because we still value the ball. We still want the ball. We still want to move the ball to hurt people, but not moving it needlessly. So I think that's where I'm at with possession. And it's as simple as that in terms of trying to get a different balance of play so that in moments we can move the ball a little bit quicker and a little bit more tempo based, where we can get people in better positions to then go 1v1 and to hurt the opposition.
As a player, over 300 games, played in all 4 divisions, played internationally for Northern Ireland. You played under some great alumni of managers, very successful managers. Tony Pulis, who I know from Stoke City days, Sean Dyche, Eddie Howe. What have you taken from your playing career into coaching and management, and have those guys kind of given you any little nuggets along the way, or how much have you learned from playing to translate into this job?
Yeah, I don't mind saying it, that I believe some of the best coaches are the best thieves that can look at good things that coaches have got and take from them. I don't think you mentioned Owen Coyle there, but I spoke to him the other day.
Yeah,
just to see how he was and ask him a few questions. So phenomenal motivator. You wouldn't know on a Monday morning if he'd won or been beaten at the weekend in terms of how he come in every day with his positivity. So you take that side from him. Then you look at Eddie. Eddie was somewhat of a pioneer when I worked with him in terms of the way he wanted to play football. He wanted to be possession based, build out from the goalkeeper. So I learned a lot from Eddie in that style of football. Sean, phenomenal organisation, cultural talents, and able to, because everyone talks about the team, the football, but before we talk about anything else, you have to the culture, the players' behaviours, how they respect one another, but also how they respect everybody around the football club that have been here for years and worked really hard to get the football club in the place that it's in. So you take that from Sean Dyche, the gaffer Tony Pulis, a mixture of all these things, but just a desire to win. You look at him and he would do anything he could to win a game of football. So you take that from him. So in short, I've worked with some really phenomenal head coaches, managers, and you take all the good bits that they have, and you try your best to implement them. Am I on my way to doing so? I don't know. I've got to keep working at it, but I'm certainly trying, and I think it's important that all of those people that we've mentioned, all those managers, were good men. We're truthful and delivered it ruthlessly. And I think that's one thing I've took into the group here. I've spoke to them all. I've been really honest with them. I've told the truth, and that won't change.
There's one story I've seen, and forgive me if it's completely wrong, but you were born in Stoke, playing for your hometown club as a teenager, and allegedly you dyed your hair red and white, and Tony Pulis sent you home. Is that true? And if any Notts players dye their hair black and white stripes, what will you do?
Well, I'm actually black and white at the moment, so yeah, there's been a bit of VAT in that story.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of VAT. It was a certain thing in my hair that he didn't send me home. He made me go and shave it off immediately at the club. So it's a true story, but I think he's added a bit of VAT. The old.
I was going to say, you can imagine that from back in the day, many managers would be doing the same thing. Get it shaved off, son, if you want to get on the training pitch. But I think coming back to that, Martin, on the training pitch, I think that's the bit for the fans. And I think that's one thing people have been impressed with since you've come in. You speak honestly, and I think as an ex-player, you're an ex-player, played at all the levels. That's all you want, isn't it? As a player, you want somebody who's going to speak honestly with you. You might not want to hear the truth sometimes because it's not what you want to hear. If you're not in the team or if you're not a manager's, in the eye. But I think dealing with truth and honesty throughout your career, that's something that I think I've took from my career. The truth you have to deal with. And I think the way you've come in, I think that's impressed some of the fans, certainly from what I've seen, that you're not mixing your words. There's a lot of what I call management speak in the game now. Everybody's media trained, of course, but I think the truth goes a long way with fans. And I think that you've shown an example of that already when you say maybe there's a few players yet to convince you one way or another. The ball's in their court always, as you well know.
Yeah. Again, I go back to the experiences. I've learnt my lessons. You make mistakes. You try and sometimes be a little bit too cute for your own good, or you're not quite sure what to say. So, I've reflected on my journey as a coach, as a head coach, as an assistant coach, and I've kind of fell upon, you can't go wrong if you just tell the truth. And the thing I've explained to the players as well, and give you the truth, and I tell you honestly, how you receive that is upon you. It's your decision. But there's not anything to say I'm always right either. Everyone thinks because you're a head coach or you're a manager, you're always right. I might not be right, but that's how I see it. And the players have reacted really well to it. We've had absolutely no issues, and they've worked the socks off. And I think that's a good start.
Martin, you're clearly a very strong-willed professional. I think you've used the word ruthless, picking up from other managers and head coaches that you've worked for. Not have implemented or extended a system this year into having a committee. Recruitment is done, of which you are a part with Roberto Gagliardi. How do you fit into that? Because you strike me as a very strong-willed person. Yeah
Strong-willed, but there's also a side to me that is open to conversations, learning. I'm not a finished article. This is my second head coach position, so I'm not under the illusion that I've cracked it. So then when there's discussions about players, about a model, about making the football club better, I'm all ears, and I sit and I listen, and of course my opinion will be given, and I generally don't change it much. And again, it's just skipping all that grey area. If I like a player, I like a player. I'll say that's the one for me. Then there's a lot more that goes on top of that with the data, with all the medical things that go into it, and all the modern football, ways of doing things. But I still think there's an old school element, studying stuff that can't be quantified and adding it all in and making a group decision and a collaborative effort to bring in the player for county. And it's got to make the football club better. And I think that's the most important thing.
And to clarify for fans watching this, you as head coach pick the team. You have the final say.
I've been asked that quite a bit as well. I giggle because it's crazy to think that I wouldn't have all say on the squad, team, and the way that the team plays. I think the collaborative effort and the process after the games to through the game and debrief it and explain what I'm doing, the same thing that's gone on for hundreds of years. Chairman's come down and it was awful, and the manager generally would go, well, I've got 3 players out injured, or the chairman would come and go, that's good, what did you do this week? Oh yeah, I was brilliant this week. You should have seen the session on Tuesday. It's just basically the owners asking for concise details of why I picked a certain team, why I made certain subs. And me as a head coach, I'm not above being asked questions. I welcome it. I think it'll make the team better, make me better, and staff, and it'll make the football club better. Some days I'll get it right. Some days I might make a mistake. And if we can identify that, okay, maybe something else was a better option, I'll think about it and I'll act on it very quickly. And again, taking my ego completely out of it, if it makes the football club and the team better, it's going to be a really useful tool for us after games to figure out what went well and what didn't. And more football, I mean, you guys watch hundreds of games. If you can quickly assess what didn't go right, you can correct it. And I think that's all that the committee is.
You mentioned Burton a little bit earlier. What do you see as what have you learned from that experience, and what would you say are the critical difference or differences between being a number one and a member of a coaching group?
Well, I think one of the lessons you learn is how hard it is to win games. There's no football owes you nothing. It's not easy to win games. When I was head coach at Burton, different in a way that we were a team that was struggling. We were always going to be struggling. We had to survive and stay in a division. My role here now is somewhat different, but winning games of football is just as difficult. So every stone we looked up under, we have to give the players every chance to be ready every game to give the best. Where roles differ in terms of an assistant and a head coach, the assistant role is probably more enjoyable. You probably get a little bit more time with the players to enjoy. You probably get more time to switch off because the head coach is sitting worrying about what shape and what team he's starting the weekend. But I'll have to say, I address my assistant roles with the same intensity and the same value that I hold this role. Everything matters to me, and the important thing is that you learn the lessons that I've took from the past and my different coaching roles in different countries, and I make sure that I implement it in Notts County.
I think, Martin, I think that the thing as well that I'm sure most fans are wondering now we're this far away, when this goes out, we're about 10 days away from the start of the season, and with a view to the coaching group and that, the board behind it, Robert Gagliardi, and everybody that's having this say, what are the meetings looking like now from your perspective? What is being said? What do we need, or what would you like sort of in the building before that first game or before the end of the window, certainly? Where do you think that we, I know you can't say obviously too much, but where have you seen areas that we can strengthen?
There's, again, I think it's so self-explanatory, the areas that we need. So, I'm not talking in coded messages here because I think it's clear. Football club are aligned with that, especially from my conversations with everyone. And again, I've said before, it's a collaborative effort. We're really on what we need, but what I am clear on, it needs to be the right player to improve us, and not a player just out of necessity or panic. I shoulder the patience part of it in terms of waiting for the right players, and that's fine. But there's one thing I won't do. I won't start talking about individuals or certain positions because it's not fair on my group that are working their socks off every day. But I think the group are ready for more tests and to be challenged in their positions as well. So the chats are constant. I have 2 or 3 meetings this week coming up with owners and Roberto, and I honestly enjoy them because we're all aligned to wanting the best players in, if we can, to improve results and improve the club.
And I don't want to talk about specifics, Martin, understandably so. If we can perhaps talk generically the situation around Alisagna at the minute, it's clearly far from ideal for you that he's going to miss the first 5 games. How do you manage that process between now and the start of the season in terms of personnel? There's a friendly coming up against Cardiff. can't be an easy one to juggle, because clearly Alisagna is going to be a crucial part, but you haven't got him for 5 games.
No, but I think that was clear that we were going to have him for 5 games very, very early on when I took the job. So I talked about being a positive head coach. I can't talk about it and not live it. It's a great opportunity, I feel, for someone else to go and take a claim. And if I was centre forward in my dressing room, I'd be looking at 3 or 4 in those first 5 games and keeping Jata sat down. So that's the positive message that I have for the group. Nothing's promised. Although people have done very well, for me, day one pre-season was competition. Doesn't stop when the games start either. So in a positive aspect, it's a great opportunity for someone to step in and be the man. Now, there is a reality to this. I know how good he is. So I can assure you he's not chilling out, relaxing. He's working doubly hard to make sure that he's ready too.
We're doing this interview on a Tuesday. You have been able to get a senior goalkeeper coming in. I would imagine on the tour in Germany, you were speaking about getting 1 or 2 more cards in the pack. I'm sure you must be very pleased to have got a goalkeeper of the stature and the seniority of Kel Roos.
Yep. Again, on process, it's not easy to get players in. But what I will say, and I did say I wouldn't talk about individuals, but a goalkeeper here that I think has done fantastic. And he's been unlucky, actually, to probably concede the goals in pre-season that he has through probably individual mistakes that weren't his own. So I've been really pleased with Griffo in goal. I think he's showed great composure with the football, played some excellent passes. So as much as I'm delighted to get Keller over the line, what I have seen was a determination from a young goalkeeper to stake his claim, and I'm delighted with him.
We're coming to the end of the programme. Stel, final thoughts, question?
Yeah, George, just saying, like, we are now in the sort of the running, aren't we? Obviously, Cardiff friendly on Saturday again. Numbers wise in the squad, where do you think it's at? If we got to get rid of a few, or you're looking to maybe usher 1 or 2 out to let 1 or 2 more come in? Is that a case, or is the budget there just to bring the players in that have been identified? You know, that I assume the club are chasing, and that there's irons in the fire.
There is. It's ongoing. I think organically, when you're looking at it, numbers will fall, whether it be injuries, whether it be a club decision. But at the moment, like you say, there has to be action one way through one door for anything else to happen, in terms of maybe some of the younger players go out on loan to get experience. But I think the squad is short of a few numbers in certain areas. I think that's clear to say, or to see, shall I say. But at the moment, the squad is primed and ready, and I think we just need a couple of cherries on top.
And are you hopeful? Sorry, just to follow up on that, Paul. Sorry, Martin. Are you hopeful to have them in for the first league game, or is it just, like you say, identify, get the right players, and if it takes a little bit longer, then so be it?
No, I'm a head coach. I want them in for the first game.
I thought that might be the answer.
But again, there's a lot more to it. It isn't easy, and sometimes you have to show patience, and it kills me. But that's part and parcel of the job. And the club owners, Roberto, it's non-stop. You're working. I can assure the fans of that.
Final observation from me, Martin. As number 1, everybody's looking to you. You are permanently in the glare, aren't you? Everyone wants a word. Wherever you go, our eyes are on you. How do you relax? How do you get away from it all?
Well, first of all, I think the squad team are number 1. That's what I want to get into. So people don't have to worry about me too much. Again, there's a process to that. They've got to start playing really good football and start winning games. So I'd like them to be the focus. I don't relax. So that's quite a blunt answer. I don't relax. I can't. I've tried, but it's in the football season. It's time to work.
Yeah, well, we hope that you can somehow. The reason I asked that question, I've asked it of many of the managers we've had on these podcasts, was when we spoke with Luke Williams, having got the club promotion into the Football League. He went down with pneumonia, believe it or not, shortly after that, and he told us on this podcast and had kept it quiet. So, I think we all say your health is very important. Your health is very important for all of us this season.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll certainly hold that in my thoughts, and it is. And again, time with my family is probably the key area where I do relax. But even in those moments, unfortunately, you're always, especially in this period, you're always thinking about work and get the best team on that pitch, Newport away.
Martin, that's a great note to finish on. Thank you ever so much indeed for your time. We'll let you get back to sorting out players, tactics, you name it, in the next 10 days. Stel, thank you as always for joining us.
No, pleasure. Yeah, thanks to Martin. Yeah, wish you all the best, Martin. Wish you all the luck in the world. Have a great season.
Thank you very much, Chad. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye now.